As we age, our perspectives on life naturally shift. We begin to cherish peace, emotional well-being, and the tranquility that comes from years of experience. The idea of enjoying the golden years of our lives, after decades of hard work and personal sacrifice, becomes more appealing than ever. At this stage, we long to experience happiness without the stress or negativity that so often accompanies our younger years. Family is supposed to be a source of comfort, offering support and unconditional love as we navigate life's later chapters. However, for many, certain relatives, whether consciously or unconsciously, bring a level of emotional baggage that threatens the peace and serenity we've worked so hard to create. The constant complainer. A drain on emotional energy. One of the most difficult types of relatives to deal with, especially as we age, is the constant complainer. This person is often the one who cannot seem to find joy in anything. No matter the circumstances or the good things happening around them, they are perpetually dissatisfied, never able to see the silver lining in any situation. It might seem strange that someone who is family could bring so much negativity, but the impact of their words and demeanor can be profound. They may not even realize it, but their negative outlook affects everyone around them, including you. This person is typically someone who takes every opportunity to voice their grievances, whether about their personal life, the world, or even the weather. They rarely, if ever, express gratitude or acknowledgement for the positive aspects of their life. Instead, they focus solely on what is wrong, what's lacking, and what could be better. In family gatherings, when everyone else is in a celebratory or peaceful mood, the constant complainer finds a way to bring up problems, real or imagined. It could be a minor issue, like a misplaced object or a delay in plans, but they will elevate it to a level of catastrophic proportions, feeding on negativity until it dominates the conversation. Emotional scars from the past. How old grievances weigh us down. What makes the constant complainer even more challenging to deal with is their tendency to resurrect old issues. They don't just live in the present moment, they drag the past along with them, resurrecting old wounds that have already been healed. Whether it's an argument that occurred years ago or a long-forgotten family dispute, this person will not let it go. They bring it up repeatedly, reopening old scars that had previously been sealed. Even if everyone else has moved on, they continue to dwell on unresolved issues, creating an emotional atmosphere that is far from peaceful. For individuals who are already navigating the complex emotional and physical challenges of aging, such negativity can be particularly damaging. At a time in life when one hopes to find peace and contentment, the persistent bombardment of complaints and negativity creates unnecessary stress. It takes energy to continually fend off the negative remarks, and this constant emotional drain can have real health consequences, particularly for older adults. The emotional toll of constant negativity. As we get older, our emotional state becomes more fragile. Aging often brings with it feelings of vulnerability, loneliness, and nostalgia for lost times. Physical health may decline, and the reality of life's fleeting nature may hit harder than ever before. For some, the golden years are about slowing down, reflecting on past accomplishments, and enjoying the simple pleasures of life. A quiet afternoon with family, a cup of tea with friends, or a walk through the garden. These are the moments that provide comfort and joy. However, the presence of a constant complainer can shatter this tranquility. Their negativity becomes like a heavy weight, pressing down on the mind and heart, making it harder to focus on the simple joys that come with aging. Instead of appreciating the beauty of a sunset or the laughter of children, the complainer's words linger in your mind, haunting you with what's wrong, what's missing, or what could go wrong in the future. They steal your attention away from the present moment, making it almost impossible to find peace. This type of negativity doesn't just affect your emotional state. It has tangible effects on your physical health as well. Research consistently shows that chronic negativity can lead to stress, which in turn contributes to a wide range of health issues, including high blood pressure, weakened immune systems, and even heart disease. As the constant complainer continues to chip away at your emotional reserves, the stress of dealing with them seeps into your physical health. The ability to relax, unwind, and truly enjoy your later years becomes increasingly difficult. The negative impact on relationships and social connections. What's often overlooked when dealing with a constant complainer is the way their negativity spreads to others. Their pessimistic views can infect the entire family dynamic. For example, at a family gathering where everyone is celebrating an achievement or enjoying each other's company, the complainer will steer the conversation towards something negative, whether it's about someone's life choices or current events. The mood shifts, and what should have been a moment of joy now feels awkward and uncomfortable. Others may start to distance themselves, either physically or emotionally, to avoid getting caught up in the constant cycle of complaints. The emotional toll of dealing with a complainer extends beyond the person themselves. Family members may feel a sense of guilt for not being able to make the complainer feel better, even when they have tried every possible solution. Over time, these interactions can strain relationships, creating rifts where once there was unity. No one wants to feel like they are walking on eggshells or constantly trying to fix someone's negative mindset. The lack of support for the complainer can also make them feel more isolated, deepening their sense of dissatisfaction and feeding into the negative cycle. Empathy versus self-care. The struggle of balancing compassion with boundaries. It's important to recognize that while the complainer's behavior is draining, it often stems from their internal struggles. Perhaps they have been hurt by life's challenges, and they struggle to see beyond their pain. Maybe they feel overwhelmed by unfulfilled expectations, unable to navigate the disappointments of their past, and unable to break free from their mental loops of negativity. These emotional battles are real, and it's natural to feel sympathy for them. However, empathy cannot come at the cost of your own well-being. As much as you may want to help this person, you cannot afford to sacrifice your own peace in the process. Aging brings with it a deep desire for calm and serenity, and it's essential to protect that peace, even if it means setting boundaries with loved ones. It's not selfish to prioritize your emotional health. It's necessary for your overall well-being. Setting boundaries. Protecting your emotional health. Creating distance from a constant complainer, while difficult, is often the only way to preserve your mental and emotional health. You have every right to set boundaries and to choose who you spend your time with. It's not about cutting off family members. It's about recognizing when their negativity is no longer serving you and taking the necessary steps to protect your peace. This might mean limiting your interactions with them, changing the subject when they bring up a negative topic, or even politely excusing yourself from conversations that are dragging you down. Setting these boundaries is not an act of cruelty or indifference. Rather, it is a self-care strategy. You are choosing to create space for positivity and joy in your life. By doing so, you can preserve your emotional energy and continue to enjoy your golden years without being weighed down by the emotional burdens of others. You are protecting your well-being and ensuring that your later years are filled with the love, peace, and happiness that you deserve. A pattern of disappearing and reappearing. The behavior of this type of relative often follows a predictable pattern. They may be absent for months, sometimes even years, during the times when family celebrations are happening, when birthdays are being celebrated, or when life is going smoothly. It's not that they are completely absent from family life. They may be around for brief moments, exchanging pleasantries, but these interactions are often shallow and unremarkable. They show up just enough to maintain the appearance of being part of the family, but never to truly engage or form a deeper connection. However, when disaster strikes, or when their life is crumbling around them, they reappear with an urgent need, as if their survival depends on it. The call is usually timed for when the family is already in the midst of a stressful period, or when someone else's attention is already diverted. The request may come in many forms: a financial bailout, a last-minute favor, or an emotional shoulder to cry on. They approach with desperation, often framing their problems in such a way that you feel compelled to help. The trouble is, by the time they come around, It's clear that their request is not coming from a place of immediate crisis, but rather a pattern of dependence that has gone unchecked for far too long. The emotional toll of always being the rescuer. One of the most draining aspects of dealing with this kind of family member is the emotional toll it takes on you. They've somehow managed to create an environment where they are the victim, and everyone around them is expected to step in and fix things. It's not about resolving problems in a healthy, reciprocal way. It's about being continually needed when it's most inconvenient. The emotional cost of this dynamic is not easily understood until you've been pulled into it repeatedly. Every time you extend a helping hand, you may feel that you're doing the right thing, especially when this person has always been family. But over time, you begin to notice a subtle shift in the relationship. Instead of feeling appreciated or supported, you start to feel more like a caretaker or a problem solver, constantly expected to clean up someone else's mess. What starts as a few occasional favors transforms into a more chronic pattern, leaving you exhausted, resentful, and ultimately emotionally drained. This imbalance begins to erode your own sense of peace and happiness. You might feel that your emotional and mental well-being has taken a back seat to their constant drama and problems. Your own needs and desires are often sidelined in favor of dealing with the latest catastrophe in their life. You find yourself thinking, why do I keep giving? And why is it never enough? The truth is, it's never enough, because this relative's needs are infinite. There's always a new crisis, always a new demand for your attention. They never seem to learn to stand on their own 2 feet, and instead, they lean on others without regard for the toll it takes on them. The pattern of entitlement and lack of accountability. A key feature of this dynamic is the sense of entitlement that the relative exhibits. They seem to believe that because they are family, you owe them your time, energy, and resources, regardless of how often they've been absent or indifferent in the past. This sense of entitlement is often further compounded by a lack of accountability. They rarely take responsibility for their actions or decisions. Instead, they cast themselves as victims of circumstance, as if life has conspired against them, leaving them with no other choice but to rely on others. What's particularly difficult to bear is their unwillingness to change. Time after time, they find themselves in similar situations, financial struggles, relationship problems, personal crises, but rarely do they take the initiative to seek lasting solutions. They may promise to do better or to change, but the pattern persists. Their life seems to be in a constant state of flux, filled with short-term fixes and temporary relief, but no real forward movement or growth. When the cycle repeats itself, it becomes clear that this person has no intention of breaking the cycle. They are comfortable in their role as the needy relative, because they know someone will always step in to help them. They may offer apologies or promises of change, but their actions rarely match their words. It's a toxic dynamic that wears on the people who love them, leaving behind frustration and resentment. The promise of change is often just a form of appeasement, a way to ease their conscience temporarily while they continue to lean on others. The impact on family dynamics. This behavior doesn't just affect the person offering help, it impacts the entire family dynamic. Over time, it creates tension, frustration, and even division among relatives. Those who are regularly called upon to help may begin to feel taken advantage of, while others who may have distanced themselves from this person may quietly resent those who are always coming to their rescue. The family unit can start to fracture as different members align themselves with or against the needy relative, and small disagreements or frustrations escalate into larger conflicts. What's worse is that this type of relative often knows how to play on the family's emotions, using guilt and manipulation to keep others in line. They might say things like, "You're the only one who understands me," or "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't make it through," attempting to manipulate the sense of loyalty that family members feel. These emotional appeals make it harder to say no, even when you know that helping them is detrimental to your well-being. It also breeds an unhealthy sense of competition in the family. Those who are frequently called upon may begin to feel like they are constantly being tested or compared to others. Family gatherings can become fraught with tension, as one person's absence or lack of support may be noticed and criticized. It creates a dynamic of comparison and judgment, where family members feel compelled to either step up to the plate or risk being perceived as uncaring or unsupportive. Setting boundaries and protecting yourself. The only way to truly cope with this kind of relative is by setting firm boundaries. You have to learn to say no and to stop feeling guilty for not constantly being available for their crises. Setting boundaries doesn't mean cutting them out of your life entirely, but it does mean recognizing when enough is enough. It means recognizing that your own needs, emotional health, and peace of mind are just as important as theirs, and it's okay to protect those things. One important aspect of setting boundaries with this type of relative is being consistent. If you give in once and help them with a crisis, they may come back again and again, thinking that you will always be the go-to person for assistance. It's crucial to be firm in your decisions and not allow yourself to be dragged into the same cycle of dependency. You can't change them, but you can change how you react to them. Another vital element is communication. It's important to express your feelings in a calm, respectful manner. Let them know that while you care about them and want to support them, you can no longer be the one who always saves them from their troubles. If they truly want to change, they will have to take responsibility for their own lives and seek out solutions that don't involve leaning on others. At the same time, be prepared for their reaction. They may be defensive, upset, or even angry. However, maintaining your boundaries is crucial to preserving your own emotional health. Reclaiming your time and energy. Ultimately, the key to dealing with a relative who only shows up when they need help is reclaiming your time and energy. Life is too short, especially as you get older, to spend it constantly caught in the whirlwind of someone else's drama. You've earned the right to enjoy your time and focus on your own well-being. It's not selfish to prioritize your peace. It's necessary. Your emotional and mental health should always be your top priority, and that means you may need to distance yourself from those who constantly drain you. By establishing clear boundaries and taking steps to protect your emotional space, you not only take back control over your life, but you also allow yourself to create healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Family should be a source of love, support, and mutual respect, not a one-sided exchange of giving without receiving. Don't allow anyone to use you as their emotional crutch or a safety net that catches them every time they fall. You deserve to live the rest of your life surrounded by people who appreciate you and support you in a balanced, healthy way. And that starts with learning to say no when you need to, so you can preserve the peace and joy that are yours to enjoy. The subtle nature of family jealousy. Jealousy within families often manifests in ways that are subtle but still deeply painful. Unlike more overt expressions of envy, the jealousy of a relative might not be loud or dramatic. It can take on a quiet, almost passive form, emerging in whispered comments, backhanded compliments, or even complete silence in moments when support is needed most. This subtlety can make it especially difficult to identify, as the envious relative may mask their jealousy with the facade of politeness, concern, or indifference. At first, their reactions to your successes might seem like simple, offhand remarks, but over time, you begin to recognize a pattern that feels dismissive or even diminishing. For instance, they might brush off your accomplishments, downplaying the hard work you've put in. Perhaps they'll compliment you in a way that doesn't seem to align with their tone, like saying, "Oh, that's great, I guess," or "I didn't think you were going to make it, but here you are." These kinds of responses are often veiled in layers of sarcasm or skepticism, and over time, they erode the joy you feel about your own progress. What should be a celebratory moment is instead tinged with doubt, as you begin to wonder if your own achievements are, in some way, threatening to this relative. At times, their jealousy may come across as insincerity. They might claim to be happy for you, but their body language and the way they speak about your success suggest otherwise. Their smiles may seem forced, and their eyes may betray a hint of resentment. It's these small details, how they react when you share something positive, that can make you feel like your family member is not genuinely happy for you, even if they insist that they are. It's the invisible weight of their envy that hangs in the air, an emotional presence that can't be ignored. The emotional toll of jealousy. The emotional toll of dealing with a jealous family member is profound. Instead of feeling supported and celebrated in your achievements, you may begin to feel isolated and unsupported. The joy you derive from your success is often diminished by the knowledge that it has been met with jealousy rather than encouragement. This kind of emotional manipulation can leave you questioning your worth, your relationships, and the very foundation of your familial bonds. This toll is particularly acute when it comes from a family member you've known for years, someone who was supposed to be your ally, your champion. To realize that someone who has shared so many experiences with you, someone who should understand the value of your journey, is instead harboring jealousy, can feel like a deep betrayal. After all, families are meant to be a source of support. When they are not, it can trigger feelings of loneliness and alienation. When this jealousy goes unchecked, it can start to affect the way you view yourself and your relationships. You may find yourself second-guessing your decisions, questioning whether your accomplishments are truly deserving of pride, or whether they are only fueling resentment in the people you care about most. There may even be moments when you wonder if you should downplay your successes in order to avoid causing discomfort or friction with your relative. In these instances, the feeling of guilt for pursuing your own happiness can become overwhelming. You may feel like you're caught between the desire to celebrate your achievements and the need to protect the feelings of others. The root causes of familial jealousy. Jealousy within families is often rooted in a complex web of personal insecurities, unresolved issues, and unspoken dynamics. For many relatives who experience envy, their jealousy may stem from feelings of inadequacy or frustration with their own lives. They may feel that they have not accomplished what they hoped to in their own lives, and seeing you succeed reminds them of what they perceive as their own shortcomings. It's possible that they feel a sense of competition with you, even if they have never openly acknowledged it. In some cases, the jealous relative might feel that your success undermines their own sense of identity or worth. Perhaps they have always seen themselves as the one who deserves attention, and your achievements threaten the narrative they have built about their own life. This kind of familial jealousy can also be exacerbated by comparisons. If you and your relative grew up in similar circumstances, their envy may stem from the belief that they should have achieved the same things you have, and your accomplishments highlight their perceived failures. It's also important to consider the emotional impact of growing up in a family dynamic where competition or comparison was prevalent. In some families, love and approval were doled out based on accomplishments or status, creating an atmosphere of rivalry rather than support. In such families, every success might be viewed as a challenge, and instead of feeling proud for a loved one, a jealous relative might feel threatened by their progress. Handling the jealous relative. Strategies for protecting your peace. Dealing with jealousy from a family member requires both self-awareness and compassion. While it's understandable to feel hurt or betrayed by their behavior, it's important to approach the situation with the goal of preserving your own peace and well-being. This doesn't mean that you should tolerate toxic behavior or allow your relative to undermine you, but rather that you should focus on setting healthy boundaries and maintaining emotional distance when necessary. The first step in addressing jealousy is recognizing it for what it is. Understanding that their behavior is rooted in their own insecurities and not a reflection of your worth can help you detach emotionally from their negativity. Instead of internalizing their jealousy, remind yourself that their feelings are about them, not about you. This mental shift can help you reclaim your emotional energy and stop letting their envy dictate how you feel about your own life and achievements. Lastly, practicing compassion can also help you cope with the emotional toll of dealing with a jealous relative. While it's important to protect yourself from their negativity, try to approach the situation with understanding. Recognize that their jealousy may stem from unresolved issues in their own life. If it feels appropriate, you may even consider having a candid conversation with them about how their behavior is affecting you. This can be a delicate conversation, but it may provide an opportunity for them to acknowledge their feelings and potentially change their behavior. Conclusion: embracing your success. Without guilt. Living with a jealous relative can be emotionally draining, but it doesn't have to define your experience. By recognizing the jealousy for what it is, setting boundaries, and protecting your self-esteem, you can maintain your peace and continue to celebrate your achievements without guilt. Remember that you are worthy of success, love, and happiness, and that your accomplishments should be celebrated, not diminished. As you navigate these complex family dynamics, focus on building relationships that nurture you and let go of those that drain you. In doing so, you will cultivate an environment where your emotional well-being is prioritized and where love and support flow freely, free from the shadow of jealousy.